All right, well, welcome once again to Cats on Guard. I am your host, MC Howe, and joining me as always,
Richard Million.
Welcome, Captain Richard. I actually found myself a bit of a milestone this week. Yesterday, in fact. I made, I think, for the first time, at least the first time I know about, I'm on somebody's no-fly list.
No.
Yeah. So,
so no-fly list means two different things to the people at home, right? There's a no-fly list, like the bad version.
Yeah, there's the no-fly list that the TSA, Transportation Security Administration, keeps of people that aren't allowed on airplanes. And then there is the no-fly list among pilots that they keep for other pilots that they don't want to fly with. And I got on one.
What did you do?
It's not so much what I did, it's so much what I wouldn't let the other guy do in the flight deck. He was doing something he wasn't supposed to be doing. And I caught him. I looked over and I said, "Did I just see what I thought I just saw?" And he's like, shrugs his, like he's been doing it this whole 3-day trip. And I just didn't happen to catch it until this moment. And I said, "You can't do that."
Can I take a guess?
You can take a guess.
Was it chewing tobacco?
If only it was that.
Oh no,
I've seen plenty of that. It was not. It was tobacco related, but it was not chewing.
Oh no.
Yeah. It's not
the full huff, huh?
Well, it's not a cigarette. He wasn't smoking a cigarette.
But, well, you can't get away with that, but you can definitely get,
Well,
nobody
here's
can smell the vapes, yeah.
Here's the frustrating thing. The day before, a passenger goes into the bathroom, sets off the smoke alarm because he was vaping in there.
Oh, so come on. That's a rookie move.
We had a whole thing to deal with.
No, you got to hit the flush button and blow down into the toilet so it sucks it all out.
Good for you to know this.
Don't have any. Don't know why I would know that.
Yeah, I don't need. Well, anyway, so he says to me, he says, "If you don't want me to do this, that's fine." I said, "I do not want you to do this. You should not be doing this. There are rules." He said, "That's fine." He goes, "But I'm upset because I really enjoyed flying with you, but I'm not going to be able to fly with you anymore. Just you and the only other guy who is the most hated guy in our crew base amongst all the other FOs. So I'm on the list now, but what are you going to do?"
Boy, I'm sorry to hear that.
At least
ask first.
Right? Like,
hey, do you mind if I take a huff?
You know what upsets me even more about it is that no one else has a problem with this guy doing this, at least according to him.
Yeah.
So I'm the bad guy for enforcing the rules.
But you've got to set a tone. You've got to talk and communicate first. You can't just hope the other guy's cool with it.
Yes, you're right. Yeah. Hey, do you mind if I do this? I am addicted. I cannot go without that.
Well, let me tell you, back in the cargo days, we used to hear that other crew members would go on the back and check in the cargo straps, make sure they're all nice and tight. It took about 5 to 6 minutes. Oh. And I found out really quick that those cargo straps were always tight. They never came loose.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting how long a very simple thing can take. Yeah. Well, we are Cats on Guard, and we are opening up the flight deck door to let you in on all the secrets about things that happen up there. And boy, this is one of them I didn't expect to encounter, but it is. And today...
How many years of flying until you saw that?
21 years, 22 years at the airlines, plus a few years in the back of the airplane as a flight attendant. Now, I do have a story about that. This is funny now. Today's topic is things that happen at TSA, things that get through TSA, dumb things we've seen. This story I'm about to tell predates TSA. And it happened on the airplane. And I'm not sure this is a thing that ever would have been found by TSA anyway. I was a flight attendant and I was working a flight that was very empty. So we finished our service quite early and I was going around picking up garbage and I found a little baggie, a little tiny
Oh,
baggie with some white powder in it. And to me, it looked like what I would see on the TV cop shows. It looked like crack. And so I picked it up and I showed it to the other crew members, and we weren't sure what it was, but I took it up to the flight deck and gave it to the
did you
pilots.
taste it?
No, I didn't taste it.
Oh, why
Maybe I
not?
should. Well,
Yeah, well, you know if it's legit or not.
I know, but we do get random drug tests here at the job, so I probably wisely didn't taste it, but I sat down because we were done and there was nothing to do. And I saw a person in the vicinity of where I had found it, frantically searching for something. He was under the seat. He was in the overhead bin. He was in and out of the lavatory. And I could tell that whatever he lost was extremely important. So I just kind of sat and watched for a while. And I finally walked up to the guy. I said, "Sir, you appear to have misplaced something. Can I help you look for it?" He goes, "Yeah." He goes, I lost my talcum powder."
Oh, talcum powder.
So I said, "Your talcum powder, really?" He goes, "Yeah, man." I said, "Well, let me help you look for it." What? He goes, "Yeah. What does it look like? What's it in?" He goes, it's in a watch kit." Oh, what? By the way, do you hear any? And I hear an echo when I'm talking. I hope to edit that out. And the reason I'm hearing this echo is because very extremely cold weather all across America today. We're having one of those rare no school days because of the cold. My kids took full advantage, built the most extensive fort, and they used every cushion that I was using in this room for soundproofing. And I didn't have the heart to tear down their fort. So,
Oh, don't do that. You make an echo episode for them.
Listener, I apologize for the echo, but back to the story. So I looked for the man's talcum powder with him, and we don't find it. And I gave it to the pilots, and they said they had radioed ahead, and the drug dogs were going to come on the airplane. And so when we landed, I went right up to the front desk there where the pilots stand usually to say goodbye, and I wanted to be able to point this guy out when the cops came on. Well, he didn't get there in time, and he was one of the first passengers off the airplane. So I just said, "Sir, did you ever find your talcum powder?" He says, "No." So if I remember, we were going into Baltimore. He goes, "No, man, it's long gone." I said, "Well, that's a shame, but you can always get more at the drugstore." And he looked at me. He goes, "Not me, man. I get my stuff on the West Coast." And I never saw him again. I never know what happened, but I do wonder if in the TSA world that we live in today, would that have been found on his person?
I don't know.
Because they look for
That's a good
liquids.
question.
They look for metals. They look for suspicious objects.
Gels.
Yeah, gels. I had another. I feel like I'm manipulating the conversation here. I told you on the previous podcast, I mentioned that I was going to visit my friend Prissy Bauer in New York. And so I was just jump seating and I wore my street clothes. And when you're a pilot in your street clothes, it's a little riskier endeavor because when we go through our super secret security entrance, they usually just wave us in. But on occasion, they will randomly select us for additional screening, which means go through the regular line. Well, if you're in your uniform, they tend to overlook things. And we're allowed to bring like toothpaste and shampoos and whatnot. Well, I was in my street clothes when I went to see Prissy Bauer in New York. And I just had a backpack because I was only going for one night. And I threw in a little zippy of toothpaste. I think that was all I had. But I was risking because I was in street clothes. And if you're in street clothes, you don't get to skip to the front of the line like we normally do, which I kind of feel bad about when I do that, but
No.
Well,
No,
not bad enough to not do it, but yeah,
you live in that airport. That is your home,
yeah,
away from
that's
home.
true. Well, then does that mean that the passengers are guests?
Well, whether you're operating or you're in the back, you could be a deadheader. You could be operating. You've got to get to the airplane because that's going to crumble the whole system, and those 300 people in line aren't going to be able to depart on time.
Yeah, well, I got lucky. I got away with. I didn't get away with anything. I just didn't get selected for random, so I
Straight
got
through.
through, straight through both times,
See,
there and back.
I get random. Okay, so for those at home, known crew member entrance is for airline employees who are vetted against the security watch lists every 24 hours. We can't sneeze without our work knowing. If you
Blows
get
my
a
mind.
DUI, you get arrested. They run your name through MI6, FBI, TSA, no fly list. You name a list, they run it, and they make sure that we're safe and compliant and security cleared every 24 hours. And if it flags, you're off the list. You don't go through that door anymore, and it'll come up because we all have barcodes. We don't wear them; they're like in our pocket or
They're
wallet or something, but there's a
under our
barcode that ties
skin.
to, yeah, in our wrist and a chip. No,
Hmm.
just kidding. So we get these barcodes, we go to the gate, and that's when it decides if we're getting random or not. Well, and if you get random, we just said, you got to be in your uniform, otherwise you're not allowed to take your toothpaste and things. So I got one for you, a real quick one.
Yeah,
I keep a uniform, where I used to, because I don't do this much anymore, but I used to keep a
yeah. I
uniform.
notice you're sporting quite the beard today.
My operations manual says that I don't have to shave. I just have to keep a neatly clean beard
Oh,
while I come to work. Well,
well, all right.
no, I'm allowed to. I'll clean up once in a while.
Okay.
Anyway, so at the top of my bag or the top of my backpack, wherever I go, I'll keep a junky blue pair of work pants and a junky pilot shirt that has some stripes on it. Because apparently, to the TSA, I am a much more dangerous person without those clothes on. So with the clothes on,
Yeah,
shirt,
isn't that
stripes,
something?
pants, go on through with the toothpaste, the shaving cream, and whatever else. No shirt and stripes. Now the shaving cream and the toothpaste is illegal. I don't know who's making these rules up, man. So I keep the shirt in there, I keep the pants on, and I tell you what, I got so fed up with this system. And when they hit me, I zip open my backpack, I throw the shirt over whatever I'm wearing. I mean, whatever I'm
So
wearing, and I pull the pants up over my jeans. And I go, look, now I'm in uniform.
okay,
May I
hold on a
grace?
minute.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I need to get in on this transformation with you because the podium where we get screened, we swipe a little badge, our picture comes up, it says approved or not approved. If not approved, you go over to the regular security, what you're talking about now. So you're talking about you leave this podium and you Superman into these clothes.
Between the podium of denial and the
Yeah.
podium of entry with everybody else, I stand there in the line with everybody else, and I put this show on to make a point in front of
While
everyone.
you're in the line, you put these clothes on.
Absolutely. Oh,
Oh
I
my God.
rip it out the bag. Absolutely.
What do people say when they see this?
Usually they're in disbelief,
I should think so.
but I want the representative at the podium of regular TSA to see the ridiculousness of these rules.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, you
And
can't change the government from the bottom up, but geez.
and the agents see you doing this as well? Do they have any
Absolutely.
do
They
they have any
smirk, they roll
it's
their
okay.
eyes.
They don't care.
Uh, so I am one for however many that stopped and said, you are doing something illegal and you are circumventing the rules. I said, oh, I'm definitely much more dangerous as a human being without this shirt on. And
Yeah,
I continued through the checkpoint.
what's funny about this is it's not really
I'm
funny, but
following their rules.
yeah, I know. Uh they're checking us for weaponry and they're checking for who knows what of. But we have the biggest weapon there is at our fingertips. All we do is
The
sit
clan.
down. Do you remember what happened on 9/11? What happened in
Oh, yeah. I
Germany
think
a
the
few
whole
years
world
ago?
does.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. So I don't need anything except a messed up brain. So I don't know.
What
It's
was
all a show.
the barrel roll airplane? Let's see.
Barrel roll airplane.
Horizon Air Q400. Yeah, the ramp agent. He snapped and hijacked the
Oh
airplane. Nobody
yeah,
was in
out
it.
in Seattle. Happened in Seattle, right?
Yeah. So that's an employee. That's I don't know if he was a baggage handler or a tug driver or what is, or just an airport employee has access to an airplane.
Sure.
Meanwhile, grandma can't bring a full tube of toothpaste through because, oh no.
Mm.
But grandma can take crochet needles, 11 and 12-inch,
Yeah.
pointy, sharp objects,
Isn't that
two of
interesting?
them,
Mm-hmm.
totally okay. I mean, you could jam
Yeah.
that so far down somebody's neck, all the way to almost the lungs.
Well, you're giving away secrets now. Yeah, I once
No, no,
saw
no.
a like an 8-inch hunting knife or something. So the tray, the table, the belt that you put your suitcases on, and it goes through the machine. Underneath that, it's like a 2-level thing. There's a table underneath. They store bins usually. There's like an 8-inch hunting knife sitting there, like that somebody realized that they shouldn't take through, and they just left it there. And who knows how long it was there before I saw it. And I was just like, hey guys, is anyone paying attention here? But some airports will have a display case of things they've confiscated, weapons and other banned
Like they're
items.
proud of taking away your stuff where
Yeah,
you're going.
yeah, yeah.
We got a
Well,
Swiss Army knife and a Zippo lighter. We saved the planet.
yes, yes. Well, I got curious about certain TSA stories, things that have happened to other people. So when I looked it up, and I found some stories on BuzzFeed. I'm gonna read 2 real quick ones here, and these are from regular people, just to demonstrate the silliness of TSA. Here it is. I flew as a kid, and my mom packed cheese strings in my Lion King backpack. My backpack got pulled from the scanner, and a scary TSA agent asked 7-year-old me if it was mine and ripped it open. Then she shoved it back at me, all disappointed. It's cheese! TSA thought it was sticks of dynamite.
Oh,
Mm,
dynamite.
yeah. 7-year-old. Now, listen to this one. And this one's going to bring up so many more questions. My uncles were on the SCA team for the US, going to Poland to fight for the national cup. Any idea what SCA is?
No.
Take a wildest guess you can possibly come up with.
SCA.
Yeah, which is not even in the
Sport
description.
Clay Association.
Did you say what? What's the S for?
Sporting clays. Sporting clay. No.
No, I'm going to save you and our listener a lot of guessing. SCA is medieval knight fighting. Swords, armor. That's a thing, I guess.
An Olympic
Each,
sport.
oh, it doesn't say it's the Olympics.
Oh,
It was the National Cup of SCA. Each player, and it was in Poland. Each player had signed paperwork from everywhere they needed to get through their weapons and armor, including papers from their senator. As they were coming back to the US, they had a layover in Paris. Security had a conniption saying they had stolen artifacts from France and could not go back to the US with France's history. My uncle resisted. The army showed up. The actual French army showed up. Eventually, my uncle decided to leave the armor and the weapons behind in France so they could go home.
well, and I hate to say this, but in defense of the TSA, the French don't have the TSA.
Well,
the French just have their own security.
Yeah, obviously, they got their night weapons through the American TSA on their way to Poland.
Yeah.
So,
oh boy. Well, tell me about this cheese thing, right? This cheese in this backpack. Mozzarella, a cheese. Is that a solid? Is that a liquid or a gel, or what do they classify?
My experience with mozzarella cheese sticks, string cheese, they're kind of rubbery. If melted, surely it would be liquid form, but
well, see, that's what I'm saying. So,
I don't know
if
how
I
you
microwave it first.
Yeah.
Well, I had we've talked about this in previous episodes. I was on a very strict diet, and one of my little treats, it had a little bit of carbs, a little bit of sugar in it, but it was a treat. It was peanut butter. Peanut butter's a treat for me, and I could roll them in these low carb tortillas and make these little peanut butter quesadillas, wraps, roll-ups, whatever you want to call it. So I
Peanut
have my
butter
peanut butter.
quesadilla. Okay, that
Uh,
works.
it's something portable and snackable and some protein. So peanut butter in a tortilla. I have them in my backpack.
All right.
I get flagged at the TSA. You cannot have peanut butter or bring peanut butter through the checkpoint.
You're a
I
working
said,
pilot or
why?
passenger?
I was a randomed in plain clothes. So I was going to go to work,
Okay.
and I had stuff I normally bring to work, but I didn't put the shirt and the stripes.
All right.
So peanut butter was okay with the stripes and the shirt on. Peanut butter not okay. Pilot with a collared golf shirt. Okay, don't ask me why. Anyway, I go through. I said, I have a medical condition, and this is in my list of acceptable dietary options. Feel free to swab it, scan it, whatever. I need this. No, sir. I said, under what grounds? It's a gel.
Peanut butter is
I
considered
don't
a
believe.
gel.
I don't believe it's a gel. It's not transparent
I would
or
call it a
translucent.
spread,
Tell me about it.
a
And I
condiment
said,
if you're really
in,
stretching it.
what happens if I bring the solid form of this peanuts?
Oh, then you're going to deal with everybody's peanut allergy, and they'll ban that too.
Be careful with that.
Yeah.
But the peanut is okay through the checkpoint.
Mm-hmm.
The mashed up peanuts is not okay.
Sure.
I don't know who makes these decisions. So I
Somebody.
gave up my peanut butter.
Oh,
I
that's
tried.
sad. And I don't.
That's okay.
They probably don't sell it in the airport gift shop either, do they? Peanut butter.
No, they do not.
No.
Some restaurants will have like the diner and at the airport. Is it? Can't remember the name of the diner. Anyway, the
you
diner.
could
They'll have
probably
peanut butter.
You could get
So
a
you can
peanut
get peanut
butter
butter in there.
sandwich. Might be on the kids menu if they have
Their
one.
peanut butter at the diner is okay to buy.
Yeah. Well, certain peanut butters are creamier than others. One year for my birthday, my family got me a 1 pound Snickers bar.
No way.
Yeah, it was the most incredible thing. And it was
sounds incredible.
It was all scaled up and proportioned. It was absolutely glorious. It took me 4 months to eat it.
So they got the vein down the front the right way?
It was everything you can imagine.
The ripples, everything's to scale.
It was just like Willy Wonka put it in his machine and up it went. Now, so I was so enamored with that the following year they got me a 1 pound Reese's peanut butter cup.
Ooh.
Yeah, but when you scale up the Reese's peanut butter cup, the peanut butter does not maintain the same consistency. In fact, I found it was closer to a liquid in the very center when I got to it.
Wow.
Yeah. So
the oil's kind of separated in the middle of your Reese's giant Reese's cup?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, if we're talking about dumb things the TSA takes away, how about bringing kids through the TSA?
Well,
everything that your kids need to survive, they want to take away.
Yeah, I've seen these parents that are doing, and it's like, I see they got the strollers and the bags and the diaper stuff and the toys and the treats and the iPads. And I look at these guys and I think, you're not going on vacation. You're just bringing everything. You're bringing all your problems somewhere else.
You're parenting in another location.
That's what it is. Have you had some negative travel experience with your children?
I absolutely have, but really, I'm okay with it for me to deal with because I'm a combative person. I love the confrontational aspect of passing through security at an airport. But I feel real bad for these people that don't have an ounce of fight in them, that just roll over.
That's me. And that's one of the reasons I hate traveling. If I'm going on vacation, if we can't drive, I really don't want to go, because once you take away my badge and my uniform and my ability to skip, and if I'm going with my family, I'm not going to skip ahead. I'm going with them through the line, and I hate it. So
yeah.
I
mean, like toddlers. Okay, so let's go with newborn baby. So we've flown with newborn baby many times, and baby drinks breast milk.
Yeah.
So I go look into this. Can you take breast milk? Well, if you want to take breast milk through, if it's a liquid, more than 3.2 ounces or whatever their rule is, they've got it they've got to like dip like a litmus test in it to make sure it's not a bomb, whatever they're testing for. This is dumb beyond belief. But so if you freeze a liquid, folks at home, if you
Now
want to
it's a
bring your water
solid.
bottle through, frozen. Now it's a solid.
They
Drink any
really they
liquid out
will
of it,
allow that?
100%.
Huh.
So freeze your water bottles, throw them in your bag, and drink any liquid out of it before you get to the checkpoint. So it's just a clinky, clinky, clinky bottle, and you go right through. I
What a
fill my,
loophole.
those stainless steel cans or they're insulated
Yeah.
vacuum. They last
Yeah.
for. I'll fill it to the brim with ice at home, and when I get to the airport, right before I go to security, I'll open the cap, just hold it upside down in my mouth for a few seconds to make sure any liquid in it gets out. Close it back up, stick it through the machine. I got ice through the whole day at the airport. You go to the water
Wow.
fountain, you refill it all day, and it's ice cold. It's a great travel hack.
What a hack.
Except for the baby milk. So how do I keep baby milk frozen? I can't. I drove into the airport, the shuttle, the standing in line. Of course, some of this melted. Well, I'm not going to dump out breast milk. Any mom at home, anybody with a
Liquid gold, right?
yes,
That's what we used to call it.
and it's
Liquid
so
gold.
hard to produce. It takes effort and time, and it drains the energy out of the mother. You don't dump that.
Do you know I found
So,
one? My youngest child is 11. I found a little frozen thingy of it recently, still in our freezer.
oh,
I said,
oh,
I said, do you know this is still here? She said, "Yep." Okay.
I put it right back.
Yep.
So we have this. My wife and I have this plan. We're gonna go to the airport. What are they gonna do when they want to take away the breast milk? Well, we're gonna pitch a motherly hissy fit with tears and noises that draw attention to the agents, and we're gonna make sure that they look like the worst
Mm-hmm.
people in the world, and they
Mm-hmm.
were. They
Good.
were. I had such I had such a problem with their logic. And you know what? These people at the bottom of the hierarchy, they don't have logic. They're just rule followers. That's
Yeah,
all
they
they are.
are. What you
They have a
hope.
book to. Yeah, there's no logic. If you give them a logical explanation, they just ignore it and continue to follow their book.
Yeah.
They are
Well,
exactly the people that, well, World War II. Anyway, go back to the breast milk. I logicked with them. I said, hey, if this isn't acceptable, I'll just have you know that we can produce 3.2 ounces or more than 3.2 ounces of this liquid as we come to the other side of the checkpoint. Will it be illegal then? And they just looked at me with the blankest stare. And for those of you at home that haven't put the dots together, a breastfeeding mother can just squeeze the milk out of the boobs whenever they want.
yeah.
So even though they haven't been emptied yet, you can produce that much liquid on the other side of the checkpoint.
Yeah. So we're just walking around. We're liquid containers all the time. Whether it's breast milk, blood, saliva, other
Bless
things.
these mothers for doing what they do. It's a lot of work, and we weren't going to let them take a fraction of an ounce away from our kid.
Yeah. Well,
We had the supervisor, the whole deal. But you know what? We left
they're
enough time to have this
hey,
argument.
they're doing the Lord's work, I guess. Somebody's work.
You mean the devil's work?
And maybe that's it.
That's all they do. It's torture
depends
people.
depends who your Lord is. I had a moment. Now, you're talking about the things that they won't allow. Going back in time, I used to live in Florida, and there was a hurricane looming over my house. Or it was imminent, within a day or two. And I lived there during a period where we had a lot of storms. We had like 4 hurricanes a year for a while, tropical storms and whatnot. So we had the hurricane shutters, which are these big corrugated steel things that you put on your windows and doors, and you screw them all in, and you get your power drill out, and it goes in real quick. I got really good at putting those up together, but there came a point where my drill didn't work anymore. I didn't needed a new one, and I hadn't replaced it. And this storm is coming, and I was out on a trip. I was in an airport with one of those lovely 4-hour breaks
Oh,
that almost 4 hours, not quite long enough to require a hotel room. So just sit at the airport. I thought, well, now's my time to get in a cab. This is pre Uber days, pre Lyft. Hail a cab from the airport, find the hardware store, and buy a drill. And I'm going to bring it home with me. Well, I get it back to the airport, And I come through security and they said, nope. Where do you think you're going with that? And I told them my story and they said, you can't bring that. You can check it. I said, well, how can I check it? Doesn't checked luggage have to be matched up with a ticketed passenger? And they just kind of shrugged. They just kind of shrugged and left me to figure that out. So I went over to the ticket counter to ask about this, and they said, "Well, we can list you. We can list you as a non-rev, which a non-rev is an employee traveling for free, always on standby." And so, okay, well, you can list me as a non-rev and then check my drill, but I'm not going to be on the plane as a non-rev. And that didn't really bother them somehow. Anyway, somehow my drill got where I was going, and when I got home to my at the end of the trip, I had to go down to claim this thing in baggage. And because I'm the last one to get down there, and it's the last thing, it's all by itself going around this luggage belt, and I didn't have a package for it. It was just boxed straight from the store. So everybody saw this power drill. Everybody in this hurricane about to loom on top of the city, and then here comes this free drill for anybody, and nobody took it. So I got my drill, but what a
Oh
pain that
boy,
was to get home.
that's an
Yeah,
interesting concept. How do they check an item for someone who doesn't board? I think if you check an item, it goes whether you're on the plane or not, if I
yeah.
remember correctly.
Well, you know what
It,
they told me though, and I was curious about this. I thought, okay, so I could take the drill and you know screw a hole in somebody, put it up. No, it wasn't that at all. They weren't the least bit concerned with me doing that. It was the battery, the whatever nickel cad,
Lithium?
NiCad, or
Oh,
lithium
NICAD?
ion.
Okay.
I don't know. This was 20 years ago, so I don't know what. I probably still have that drill actually. I don't know.
You gonna let the kitty in or what?
Oh, is she back? No, because she'll make noise. That's another thing. I had to lock myself in. I was told that my kid's favorite TV show is coming on, and he has to watch it on this TV in the adjacent room. And I said, "Well, I'm going to be recording in there." He said, "Well, too bad, man. And I need you to turn the TV on because I don't know how to figure out these smart TVs. You would think a 13-year-old would be smarter than me when it comes to that stuff, but I don't know. I
Well, it's
think
an
I
iPad.
failed.
They're smart with the iPad.
Yeah. So
You can still put speakers or Bluetooth stereo audio up to it. You can watch your TV with headphones. So make them watch it with headphones.
he's not going to do that. No. Stupid. That's a stupid idea. That
How
that's
dare
him.
I? How dare I
That's him.
suggest such a
No,
thing?
that's him talking to me. If I were to fast forward that, but
Boy. Well, at least they don't govern how we watch TV and record in our house, huh?
yet,
Oh, be careful. Oh,
you
it's a
think that's
slippery slope.
you think that's not coming? That's coming.
Well, what else has happened to you at a checkpoint lately?
Well, this is kind of a long story. If you have time for it,
I think we all have time
if
for it.
if, if you don't want to share one first,
No, boy, it's getting me kind of stressed out to keep talking about these things. So why don't
all
you
right,
go?
all right. A few years ago, my family and I took a trip to visit my brother for spring break, who lived out a couple hours east of LA in California. And we flew into, he's kind of not really near anywhere. So we had a couple hour drive, like a 4 hour drive to get to him. And when we got there, he was housing a little tiny kitten. Apparently, his father in law has this habit of going out into the wilderness, finding wild animals like cats, feral cats, and then domesticating them so that he can then find a home for them, which I don't know why the cats need this, but so this kitten is in this home and she's locked up in a room where my daughter is spending the week sleeping. So, of course, she falls in love with this animal. And the kids had done this the previous summer, they had done this summer camp at the Humane Society. And they were having a 2-for-1 sale during a portion of this. Daddy, can we get two cats, two kittens, please, Dad, please. Well, we were doing some construction at the house, and I said, no, not right now. It's not a good time. We have to wait until the construction is done. Thinking, although having little hope actually would happen, that they would forget that I made that promise.
Ah,
So, so we get out to my brother's house, and he's got this kitten. Well, Dad, you promised. Yes, I did. But the problem was with that 4-hour drive back to the airport, and then sit around the airport, then fly across the country. By the time we
with a
get home,
cat.
with a cat in a carrier for
No,
like 12 hours, right?
no.
So I said, we just can't. It would be too cruel to this animal to do this. But so I broke their hearts, and again, I'm just trying to figure out how to work this out. And so a couple subsequent trips, I'm out in that general vicinity, and trying to figure out if I can actually
Trips
make
with
this.
work, not with the family.
Trips for work, trips, layovers, and I'm trying to figure out if I can make this work. First of all, I don't even know if I'm allowed. What? Can you bring a cat as like your
I know passengers
with your
bring cats
carry-on?
through all the time. Yeah,
Yeah,
they put them under the seat in
yeah.
front of them, right?
Passengers do. I'm the captain of the aircraft. Do I show up with my suitcase and my iPad container and my lunch bag and my cat carrier all in one? Is
That's another live app. Are there
I
rules for the
didn't know. So
crew member?
well, I
Because I mean, I've
started
never
asking.
seen like a flight attendant taking animals.
No, I have heard stories though about a flight attendant bringing their dog. You gotta have your dog, because if you live alone, you have a dog. What are you gonna do with your dog? So they bring it. Anyway, no, I'd never heard of this before. So I started asking. I'm on the employee bus, and there was a flight attendant. I said, "Hey, what would you think if pilot had a cat in flight?" She's like, "Oh, that'd be cool." Yeah, okay. I get to the airport, and I go through TSA, and I said, "Hey, random thought, if I were to come through with a cat, would that bother you?" No, you bring whatever. I don't care. Yeah, I had a guy with a gun. A guy brought his kid, and he was a gun toting pilot, and because that's allowed. Crazy enough. Yeah, he brought his kid and his gun. No problem. Bring a cat. I don't care. So I'm asking around everybody. I asked the pilot I was working with. I asked the gate agents where we started our trip. Nobody had a problem with it. Finally, get out, fly all the way across the country, get out to this airport. And I asked him, hey, I was doing a red eye the next night. I said, hypothetically, tomorrow night, I show up with a cat. Does anybody care? No, we don't care, man. Not at all. But you know what? We should probably call the station manager and ask them. Finally found the person who cared. And I was just like, oh, because if I show up with this cat and they say no, now I'm at the airport with a cat. What do I do? What do I do with it?
Well, you can't leave the cat there. You've got to work the flight.
Yeah. So I didn't bring the cat. And I was mad. I was mad because when I showed up the next night to do that red eye, they're supposed to check your ID. They're supposed to sign you in, make sure. There was nobody there. The door was open to the jet bridge. I just walked on. Nobody ever saw me. I could have had that cat. So a week or two goes by. I'm doing that same trip again. And I was really trying to work out if I could do this. I get a call from one of my first officers. He says, hey, I see you're flying this flight tonight. I said, yeah, I am. He goes, my mom's going to be on your plane. I said, oh, really? How'd you like to do me a favor? He goes, absolutely, she'll do it. I said, okay, let me call my brother. Let's see if he's still got the cat. Well, my brother was out of town. So I was trying to work it out. It's like 2 hours to get to his place, another 2 hours back. I only had about 5 hours, and he wasn't home, but the whole time we stayed out at his house, he never locked his door. Something I could just break in, get the cat. It was really tight. It was too tight.
So you were going to kidnap your brother's cat?
Yeah, well, no, it was my daughter's cat.
Yes, but at your brother's house.
Had I had more time,
that's a tight window.
Yeah,
4 hours.
Had I had an extra hour, I would have done it. So another week or two goes by. I'm out there again, and I've had it at this point. So I just called my brother up and I said, "Bring me the cat." So he goes, "Honey, I'll bring you the cat." So I said, "Wait a minute, you got a carrier for this cat?" He goes, "Yeah, I got a carrier, of course." I thought about it for a second. I said, can you send me a picture of this carrier? He's got the biggest dog crate, like for
Oh no,
like Marmaduke could fit in this thing,
no,
right?
no.
Yeah. I said, this is not. Do you understand the incognito, the stealth operation I'm trying to pull here? That doesn't work.
Well,
But
the mission, it needs to look like a suitcase on your bag.
right,
It
right.
doesn't.
So I said, bring me the cat. Now I got to go find a pet shop where I can buy a carrier. I walk out there and I find the store. It's within walking distance. I walk over there. I say, look, I need the smallest carrier you got. And the guy looks at me, and goes, what are you moving? I said, yeah, I'm moving. I'm moving across the country. He goes, oh, what are you moving for? I said, I'm going into the snow removal business. What do you care? He goes, oh yeah, well, you've been living out here a long time, haven't you? Oh my God. Yeah, it kind of feels like it. Truth, I was there a lot. Yeah, it's true. So I get the carrier. I get back to the hotel. My brother shows up. Now he's got the cat in the giant carrier. He's got a litter box for me because we were going to have a couple hours to kill in the hotel. He's got all these toys. He's got cans and
No,
cans of
no,
food. He
no.
wanted he wanted to bring me a scratching post. I'm like, unbelievable. But now also we've got to get this cat into the hotel. And a lot of hotels are pet friendly, but I didn't know if I should just stroll through the front desk. But I do remember they had a parking garage underneath that you can access from outside. And from there is an elevator straight up to the room. So we got the cat in. A couple hours go by and it's time to go to work. Now I've got all of the things that he got. I did manage to get rid of the litter box, and its parking structure still had a garbage bin, so I threw the litter box in there. I get all the cans and the toys and the blankets and just every stupid thing my brother gave me.
Where
Throw it in
did
my
you put
bag.
it all?
I just squeezed it in here and there.
Boy,
I made it work. Cat's in the carrier, sitting up on the top. So the standard roller bag with the telescoping handle that you pull behind it. And I rested the carrier on the top of the bag, so it was like against the handle as it's leaning forward while I pull it.
absolutely
And then I draped my uniform jacket over the top of that.
perfect.
Hidden. Couldn't see anything. And the cat, so well behaved, never made a sound. We get in the van, drive to the airport.
Oh, that must be a very loud ride to the airport.
No, not at all. Not a,
Really?
well, I asked my brother, I said, did she make a lot of noise on the drive over? He goes, I don't know. I was jamming my music and never heard her. So I really didn't know what to expect. But get to the airport, not a sound. Now it's time to go inside. And we go to security. And there was one thing that might happen at this point that I was a little bit concerned about. Well, I get to KCM, known crew member, where we either swipe our badge and go through, or we swipe our badge and it says, you've been selected for a random security screening.
Canned food, maybe? I mean,
No, I got selected for the random security screening.
yeah, but you can. Oh,
Oh, yeah. Now you see it.
okay. Yeah, how's
Yeah.
this going to go?
Right. Exactly. How's this going to go? I'll tell you how it goes. So when you have an animal in a carrier, you have to put the carrier through the x-ray machine, but not the animal. So
Where does the animal go?
the animal is in my hands and I have to pull this. So I
A
pull this
uniformed
animal
pilot.
out. I'm at LAX, at one of the busiest airports in the world, where everybody in the world, if they're not in the entertainment business, they all have a home video camera in their pocket. And here's this pilot in the white shirt with the gray cat held to its chest. But it gets better, because when I pulled this animal out of the carrier, the TSA guy sees it and he says, whoa, what? Is that a pilot with a cat? Pilot
Oh,
with a cat?
great.
Is that allowed? Hey, Joe, Joe, did you see this pilot with a cat? Joe says, what? He says, you got a pilot with a cat here. You say you got a pilot with a cat? Yeah, is that allowed? I don't know. Let me call downstairs and find out. I'm just standing here waiting for this phone call, looking around. Nobody's paying any attention. I couldn't even believe it. Joe comes back.
Nice.
Yeah, pilot can bring the cat. Come on, pilot, bring the cat through. So I bring the cat through. We get through. Nobody says anything. I put my little stealth baggage display back together. I run to the gate. Now the plane's delayed, and it's the most crowded I've ever seen it. No place to stand, no place to sit, no place to hide. Just me and the cat and hundreds of passengers. And one guy wants to talk to me. He wants to talk to the pilot, you know? So I'm standing there with this cat 2 inches away from this guy, thinking, God, at least it's crowded and noisy. And if the cat starts making any noise, no one will hear it. Finally, the airplane gets there. I'm just like, they start deplaning, and I just decide I'm going to fight the crowd coming up the jetway. I'm going to make my way down. And in my shuffle to get past people, the carrier comes loose from its perch on the back of my bag. It swings around to the front of my bag, and now it's dangling like a swing. And I threw it back up there. I ran down the jetway. I got into my seat. I put the cat next to where my nest, you know, we talked about the nest.
No.
The cat goes in my nest, in the baggage spot. I put my jacket on top of it. Only the FO ever knew that cat was there. And
That's
I thought,
so cool.
And the cat never made a sound. I thought, at this point, even if the cat starts meowing, we'll just blame cats on guard.
Yeah, literally.
Now, and the best part was I never told my daughter I was doing this. So when I got home with that animal, I was dad of the year for like
You're a hero.
For about a week. And then she said, "Can I get another one?"
Oh. Kids.
Yeah. I told
when they're older and they hear this back, like this adventure, it'll be well received. It's just gonna take a few years.
Yeah.
Like 10 or 15 more years.
Well, so that's my cat through TSA story.
Oh, so wait, hold on. So there's a couple things I want to clarify for listeners at home that aren't already in the airline industry. The nest he's talking about is this briefcase spot next to the pilot, where in the old days you had like a briefcase, and nowadays we have like an iPad and a headset in the bag. So like any backpack generically will sit, but there's usually more space than just enough for a backpack. So I see in my head the perfect space for a cat carrier.
Absolutely.
The other thing you talked about that I don't know if you said the standard carry-on bag. So for those of you at home, the standard carry-on bag is 22 inches by 14 inches. And I think it's 10 wide or 10 height. Anyway,
no idea.
22 by 14 is the standard roller size. So that's what we're talking when we're rolling this cat down on this 14-inch wide suitcase. And the handle out. I see it in my head so clearly, but I just want to make sure you guys at home see this too.
I've got a picture of it. I'm thinking I put it up on our Facebook page because I have a picture of the setup. It's
I had an interesting one yesterday. I saw a leather flight jacket. I had my kids at the circus. I saw a leather flight jacket. I walked up to the guy. I said, "You flew," and he had some like bars on it, and there was another pin with a Huey on it on his collar.
No.
I said, "Did you fly Hueys?" He said, "Vietnam, yeah, Vietnam." And I said, "Wow, well, thank you for your service." So then later on in the circus, it was an intermission. I see him again in the lobby, and I just wanted to mention to him, I said, "Do you still fly?" And he goes, No. I said, "Well, if you do, or there's a museum by us. They have a Huey, and they sell rides at air shows. They raise money for the museum, and last time I did a ride in it, I got a waist gunner position. It was amazing. To hang out in the open doors while this helicopter flies around, and that Huey wop, 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 wop noise that happens when it flies, just so majestic." So his wife was with him, and his wife goes, "He didn't fly Huey." Oh, I'm sorry. I knew what was going on, and he just rolled with it when I talked to him about the Huey on his collar, right? The jacket.
Yeah.
He instead of explaining.
Well, explain it to me because I don't know what was going on then.
Oh, I had asked him about his time flying Hueys because he was wearing a flight jacket,
and he just
and then his wife blew up his spot.
He lied to you.
I wrote in the back of him.
Oh, well, that's okay.
But that's absolutely still thank you for your service, 100%.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Just he didn't bother to correct me until I talked to him about actually flying on a Huey again, but for a charitable cause.
Well, good for him.
Yeah. The
And
wife blew up his spot so badly. It was just
that's
a, it was
okay.
just a
She's
awkward
probably
moment.
so sick of hearing him take credit for that, but you
That's
know,
probably how that goes, right?
it's like when I take credit for the FO's landings.
Oh, hey,
Hey,
my
that was a
last
great
landing. Let's
landing.
see.
Thank you.
I had a landing, a very funny captain prank, but I was leaving to go fly cargo, and the last landing or the last leg that was the captain's leg was his landing.
Yeah.
And as we landed, and he gets on the PA and he goes, "Ladies and gentlemen, this is the first officer's last day of work. We want you to rate that landing. Let him know how he did." That was a terrible landing, and it wasn't even me. Find
Wait
some
a
paper,
minute.
find some pens, bring up score
Hold
0 to 10.
on.
Let us.
Hold
Oh, he threw me
everything.
under the bus so hard.
Yeah, but it was your last flight with this company and he didn't let you have the landing?
No, second to last, but the
Oh,
whole he was playing a prank on me. But since his last
okay.
day here, that was let us know how his landing was, and I'm looking over like, excuse me,
Yeah,
that was
well,
your landing. It wasn't even my landing. So he told the whole plane full of people, and it was a terrible landing. It was the cutest thing. This kid came up. Here's a 9 out of 10, just because enjoy. Those people just being nice for the sake of being nice. I
good.
did have the last leg and a good landing, so
Good for you.
it was a good farewell.
Congratulations and thank you for your service.
My service to the regional airline
That's
community.
right. That's right. You survived.
What do they call that? The Vills, towns and burgs? No, Vills.
Oh yeah. We used to go into this place. It was like Tri-Cities Airport, something like
Tennessee.
Kentucky. Yeah, it was like a bunch of different. It was like three different
Bristol,
states.
Tennessee.
Yeah. Every time I go in there, I expected to see the Dukes of Hazzard come flying over the hills in the General Lee. And there's
Oh,
a
we don't have a soundboard to make that horn, do we?
no. You did a good job though. There were graves on the side of the runway.
No.
Yes, look it up, folks. Tri-Cities Airport graves.
Graves
Hey,
on a runway. Have you seen the headstones
listen,
in Savannah?
we've got it. No.
Oh, they're built into the runway. Get on Google, folks at home.
Oh my gosh. All right. So this is an upcoming podcast. Weirdest, quirkiest things we've seen at the airlines, at the
And your
airports.
teaser is headstones in a runway.
That's it. I can't think of anything better than that, but I think we've blown up TSA today. Maybe I shouldn't say that, but
But
hey, we're doing all right. I noticed we've cracked the top 100 aviation themed podcasts. So congratulations to
Thank
us.
you.
Thank you to our listeners. And we want to hear from our listeners. So if you guys have any questions, anything you want to hear us talk about, anything that you've always wondered, send us an email, catsongard@gmail.com, and check our Facebook page. I think we're going to start posting some stories up there, maybe a picture, maybe even a cat picture. So check it out. I am MC Howe.
Richard Million.
And we will see you next time.